And Nigeria's oil and gas income are barely enough to pay the cost of imported gasoline. That's according to the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning in Davos, Switzerland on Thursday. In an interview at the World Economic Forum in Davos, May stated that she expected Nigerian oil output to average 1.6 million barrels per day this year, up from 1.5 million barrels in the first quarter. The government rejected a plan to eliminate its petrol subsidy before its national elections in February next year, placing strain on the budget as oil prices have continued to climb. I'm now being joined by our Rice business analyst live here in our Lagos studios, Chika Mbonu. Good morning.
Morning. Thank God it's Friday.
Yeah, we went all the way to this Friday again with a whole political hot water all around. No, this is a different cup of tea.
Yeah,
not a hot water. I'm sticking to the side of business and finance. So let's start with morning with FBN Holdings. This is the level delay, but looks really good on the numbers. Let's crunch it for me.
The last of the full guys, the top 5 banks to bring out their result. We have waited for these. Top line gross earnings grew by about 28%. Very good growth. It tells you that things are happening there and they're able to generate incomes. Now, if we dissect that a little further, I begin to have a little worry. The little worry I have there is that the major work of the bank is in financial intermediation. Basically, take deposits from people and then lend it to other people who need it. And so the interest income and the net interest income actually fell, which is the core business of the bank.
Of the main subsidiary.
Main subsidiary. Oh, by the way, remember for our viewers that the FBN is a holding company that has an amalgam of several businesses, including commercial banking, merchant banking, investment banking, securities trading, and even insurance aspects. Yes. But the interest income actually fell, but marginally, the net interest income fell about 10%. Now, after that, you start seeing the kind of scores I used to get when I was in school. You find that the fall in the net interest income was compensated by a growth in the non-interest income. Remember, in the non-interest income is where you hide all these fees they charge us when we use our ATM cards, when we transfer money, especially as we know that First Bank has the largest agency network in the banking industry. So that is where the income comes in. So you find that the operating income cumulatively grew by more than 36%. Another interesting line there is in payment charges. It grew by 48%. But there, also, it's a major recovery for them of about 141 billion. He did to written off from one of their clients, Atlantic Energy. And so this was a major write back for them. And so the sum total of all that led to that figure that I love, 99.9%. My teachers in primary school, those that used to score me, say they can't give you 100%. Let's give you 99.9%.
And the teacher holds the remaining
one. So profits for the year grew by 99.9%, which is massive for them. On the back of that, total assets, deposit base grew by about 20%. Confidence, people are putting money in the bank. So the deposit base growth tells us about that. And then, of course, whopping growth of 30% in the loan book. And still, the net interest income fell. But quickly, let me go because I have other things to do. Cost-to-income ratio is a major issue, especially in the inflation environment that we are in. But First Bank managed it very well. It actually came down substantially from 67% to about 57%. About 10% growth fall in that. In this area.
If you consider the 2021, by the way.
So MPL figure came down, which has been a major historical issue for First Bank. Remember, they have been trying to clean up their balance sheet. So that came down from 7.7 to 6.1. So that's massive for them. And all other ratios are within the statutory limits.
Yeah, if you look at the earnings per share, I also saw earnings per share came in at a 417.
The EPS, the earnings per share came in again 417 kobo. It grew to more than 70%.
That was massive. I know for those who hold the stock, that's one of the first line items they're going to look at.
Remember the things that happened during the year when there was an acquisition, who was the largest shareholder and whatever. I'm sure that Mr. Femi Tadalana will be smiling because of this massive earning per share that is in this place.
You need to know how to look at the numbers. But again, if we move out of
let me look at oil,
and then we look at the finance minister, which is a bigger story. Pakistan is just raising fuel prices and diesel prices, throwing subsidy out of the window. We're keeping this baby, and our Minister for Finance, I describe her as that person that says that we don't have a debt problem. We have a revenue
problem. So I'm surprised she's lamenting now. All the parameters, everybody that has something up there, have said that the level of Nigerian debt is substantial. Depending on where you look, a lot of people say we're spending about 80 to 90% of our revenues in servicing debts. Now,
and importing fuel.
So that's massive. Now, she's come up with this revelation, which we already know, that almost everyone that making crude, goes back to importing PMS and so on. And so not surprising. Because I keep saying here that when we had a similar FS market like this at the time, what saved Nigeria was the rise in crude oil prices. And once crude oil prices moved up, there was further accretion, saving of money into our reserves that helped to, improve our currency. So with the moving of oil prices to $100 and above a barrel, we thought it would happen this time. But it didn't happen because everything that we have goes to import PMS, which comes in, and then we'll sell it far, far below market. And half of it gets smuggled across our borders.
I don't want to ask you what if oil prices go back to 70, 80, 60, where we're going to find ourselves.
But you see, you don't need to ask me because the Minister for Petroleum and Sanitary, he said, we don't want high oil price. Let it come down to about $70 per barrel. That's when we feel comfortable. Because of again, that's what.
At the time when Saudi Arabia is enjoying the oil.
Every other person that produces oil is having,
so what about the oil theft in the Niger Delta? That also fall into the conversation.
Of course, oil theft is a major issue. They'll talk about it again several times in this program that, why with all the resources that have been invested in gunboats, drones, so on and so forth, to fight this, why is the Navy, not, succeeding in doing this? Well, I always believe that just like I don't call names, when the money is sweet, everybody, tends to look the other way. Same thing with the fuel smuggling, and so on and so forth. So until the nation takes this very seriously and realizes that it's like blood is leaking out from our body, and we'll soon die. And we'll know that Commonwealth is being filtered away. I think this will be taken seriously.
I don't know how much better you would have put it, but it's a Friday. Let's sleep over what you said. Chika Mono, business analyst, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
And enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're watching the Global Business Report here on Arise News.